Oh, this is recording. Um, okay, I haven't lived in Israel for 8 years, so it's not the most timely response necessarily. My family still lives there. My sister, my parents, my cousins, and so on. My friends. I'm not wearing any makeup, so this is not a usual thing for me to respond to when I'm not wearing any makeup. However, I figured this was something important that I wanted to address. Um, just briefly, you said that you live in a country, I live in a country that is not bombed regularly by Canada or Mexico. However, that's a good point. Had it been, God forbid, a country where we are bombed regularly, it would be entirely feasible, um, necessary to defend your country. That's unheard of, even if um, the other countries perceiving them to be on their land, for example. Um, which, is a whole other question, but one is killing, the other is land. I mean, one is murder and killing and using children um, as weapons. Hamas defend themselves by putting their kids in the front lines, so on and so forth, and then make it look, you know, obviously way worse when those children are unfortunately killed by self-defense. Anyway, my point is, growing up in Israel, it's not the same as it is here. Remember when I first moved here, I opened my bag to the security guard in a mall when I first walked into a mall, and he looked at me like, huh? And I'm like, oh yeah. Here, the security guards are for people against stealing. So when you go out in Israel, the security guards are to prevent you from bringing anything dangerous inside a store. Any store. Any store, any coffee shop, not any, but most coffee shops, most stores, any mall for sure, any train station, bus station, um, movie theater, so on and so forth. There are always security guards that you go through most places you go through a metal detector, and at the very least they do search through your bags. And a few places have been saved by the security guard taking a hit from a terrorist. This has actually happened. Um, when I was a teenager, buses used to blow up fairly regularly in my city. I lived in Tel Aviv. This was like a normal occurrence that happened fairly regularly. And I don't live in the south. I didn't live in the south where most of the bombings, the rockets are being fired into Israel. However, I do know people who live there, and they're constantly in bomb shelters, constantly hearing air raids, basically ignoring them by at this point, not completely, but um, constantly air raids, sirens, so far, and whatever. Um, this is a little rambly. I'm not gonna edit it, and I don't sound as eloquent as I'd like, but I just want to say that Israel's not the bad guy. Simple as that. You're being bombed um, constantly. You want to protect your citizens. How are you supposed to protect your citizens? By telling Hamas stop it? Okay, let's let's make peace right now. Okay, fine. They don't stop. Um, we'll stop building. Nope, we're still gonna fire because of buildings you had in the past. We're gonna give you all this land now to your country. Gaza is now yours. Great. Now we're gonna use it as a launching pad to shoot rockets at your country. It's a never-ending story, and it really is never-ending. There's nothing, literally nothing that Israel can do to make them stop firing. Literally nothing. Uh, 93 with Arafat and Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Ehud Barak offered Arafat half of Israel, all and back to the 67 lines, and Arafat said no. Um, and this has been offered. I think even Bibi Netanyahu back in the 90s had a similar deal. Maybe it was Bibi Netanyahu. No, I don't remember anymore. But And they said no. Basically, there's nothing. There's no peace treaty. There's no separation of state that could happen. That would make the Palestinians um, acknowledge our right to exist. And by our, I mean Israelis, specifically Jews in general. And so there's no solution. There is no solution. However, in spite of the fact there's no solution, there should still be the ability for Israel to protect themselves. That's the bottom line. And it's a sad situation. But good on Israel for actually doing something about their citizens, the safety of their citizens, and being proactive, basically. And yeah, that's about it. Sorry, this wasn't as eloquent as I'd like. I hope you watch this because um, you shouldn't hear an opinion from extremists. Basically, I'm not a lefty. I'm not a righty. I guess in this situation, I'm more leaning to the right than left. In other instances, I'm not. But it's not this. It's not an issue for people with catchphrases. It's what it is. The Arabs, most of Arab countries do not think that Israel should exist. You can look through your own comments in your videos. I've seen this before, and a lot of people say this: Israel shouldn't exist. Then what are you supposed to do with that? There's no talking to that. And in light of this, Israel should also have the right to defend itself, like any other freaking country. Why not? Why not? This teeny little country surrounded by enemies. And it's unfortunate, but anyway, it is what it is. Tough.